So, over now to Mark Catley, who's Head of E-Commerce Development in Norbert Dentressangle.
Thanks, Steve. Good afternoon, everyone. What a fantastic turnout. So thanks to everyone for coming along, and thanks to the organisers as well. It's great to see so many people here. I'm going to take a slightly different tack today. I'm going to look more at the consumer and what I term certainty factors. At the end of the presentation, I've also got some statistics as well, so a bit of a flavour for today. But from a recent survey that we did, 4 key results that came out that I think will be of interest. So certainty. What sort of images does that conjure up when we're talking about ourselves and our personal lives? So job certainty, financial certainty, lifestyle certainty. What about uncertainty? How does it feel when things are uncertain? How does it feel when things don't quite go to plan? How does it feel, and what fears do we have about the certainty over not just only our lives, but the things we do day in and day out of our lives? So I thought I'd have a look at a definition, and this is the Oxford definition of certainty. I think all of those factors there are all very, very relevant. The 4th bullet down, if you can see it, a fact that is definitely true or an event that is definitely going to take place. That struck me within the e-fulfillment supply chain as something absolutely critical as a consumer. So if we can be sure that something's definitely going to happen, then we're much more certain about it, much more likely to continue our purchasing options with that particular retail, that particular supplier. So, as the consumer, when I click purchase, am I certain I'm going to get the product? No longer am I walking into a store, picking a product up, going to a cash register, paying for it and taking it away with me, so I've got it. I'm relying on technology, I'm relying on the power of the internet and the buying cycle, that product is mine. And there's a few other factors as well. It's not just about, am I going to get it? It's, is that product actually in stock that's shown? So I've gone on, I've clicked, I think I've bought, and then I get the dreaded phone call the next day to say, actually, that product isn't there. The stock file was incorrect. There was a problem. Am I certain once I've ordered it's mine and it's on its way? Has it been ring-fenced to me? Or has someone else come in and got the last item that I think I've got and it doesn't ever turn up? Am I certain that the right item is going to be picked, packed and shipped? And when we come to some of the survey results later, there's quite a telling statistic around this particular area. Will it arrive in the time frame that I've chosen? So we've taken a lot of time to work out where we're going to be, when we're going to be there. But does the delivery match that when it comes to wherever I've chosen to have it delivered to? Which is on to the next point. Delivered to the specific place and following the instructions that I've said. If it's going to be delivered to home, it might be a large item. I might have taken a day off work to receive it. I want to be sure that that's going to come on that day at the time I want it to come in the form that I want it to come in. Will it arrive well packaged and undamaged? Obviously, no one wants damaged goods through the internet process and through the buying process. And equally, again, at the end, one of the statistics which I found staggering was around this particular area of how the consumer reacts to badly packaged or badly damaged items. Gifting requirements. So if I'm buying an item online and I want it to be a gift, then it's even more important that my instructions are followed closely. The returns process. Am I certain it will be easy and efficient? There's nothing worse than getting an item, you might have ordered it with the best intentions, you've received it, it's not quite right for you for whatever reason, and then the returns process is a huge hassle. And even worse, that you don't get your credit very quickly. So all of these factors play in the consumer's mind when they're buying online. A lot of them unconsciously, a lot of them are taken for granted now because the supply chains have developed so much in recent years, but there's a lot of certainty factors around the consumer buying process that we within the logistics supply chain need to match. One way of doing that is to break the e-fulfillment process down into its segment parts. So here there's a breakdown of 10 critical elements of the e-fulfillment process. This is from the point when the consumer decides to buy a product and the order is transmitted, through the picking and packing cycle. And don't forget, the last person to touch these goods is now a picker-packer in a warehouse, no longer a shop assistant, no more back of store to make things right, no more front of store to make things right, no one to go and ask if you want to make some slight change to a garment or an item or have a question. It's all done online. The order preparation and the carrier management, actually getting the goods from the fulfillment center out to the consumer's home, and then the whole reverse logistics supply chain. By breaking it down into the 10 component parts, it allows us to do a couple of things. Firstly, it allows us to look at each individual segment and decide whether we can add value within the supply chain against all those segments. What it also does is allow us to check the amount of certainty there is within each of those aspects, to ensure that the pick-pack process is the right product at the right time, that the delivery company get the right instructions fed through to them, that the returns process is something that's efficient. Finally, it allows us to look at the linkages between each element. It may not be a single provider that's providing all of those, and in most cases actually isn't a single provider. So what are the linkages between those different elements? Be those technology, be them relationship, whatever they may be, ensuring that each one has a proper connectivity to ensure certainty to the end consumer. So, the supply chain plays a crucial role in ensuring e-fulfillment consumer certainty. And I think that's been borne out by some of the presentations today around where do you place your e-fulfillment centers? What are retailers doing? How much the market is growing? And the statistics that Steve showed right at the very start about the UK and how big a market this is now. The 5th largest in the UK, I think you said, Steve, in terms of an industry. How important that is. So as a logistics provider, taking certainty and ensuring certainty within the supply chain and removing uncertainty for the consumer becomes absolutely critical. In terms of some survey results, which are all related, I've only picked out the 4 key ones that I thought were most related to this. So this was a YouGov survey of a couple of thousand people that was done recently. One of the interesting results talked about packaging and presentation earlier on. Quality of packaging and overall presentation of my online purchase is important to me and affects my purchasing decisions. And I think that's the key bit, affects my purchasing decisions. Half of UK adults agreed with that statement. So packaging and presentation is really important, especially when you're buying online. This one amazed me. So I think we've probably all used reference sites online. We've all looked at things like TripAdvisor before we're booking things. We've all looked at product reviews and how they affect our purchasing decisions. 69% of UK adults said that they looked for recommendations online. They wanted other people's certainty before they chose to purchase. That leapt up to 80% of people who use Twitter regularly. So I don't know if anyone's tweeting in this room at the moment, but Twitter's an incredibly powerful tool. The people who use Twitter and the people who are using other people's reviews of products, they're looking for certainty, other people's experiences about how good or bad it was before they make that purchasing decision. Late ordering cut-off times for next day delivery are important to me. A third of UK adults agreed with this statement. So again, this comes back to the placement of your e-logistics centre, your e-fulfillment centre. Where do you put it in the country? And how do you service that need by ensuring the right level of service is available from the carriers throughout the process? And finally, I think this is the most telling one of all. I would not give a retailer who incorrectly fulfilled my order online by sending the wrong product a second chance. 25% of people surveyed said they tended to agree or strongly agree with that statement. So all the work that's taken place to gain that consumer, to bring them in, to get them online, to get them through the checkout process, to buy that product, you could lose up to 1/4 of them or more potentially if you incorrectly fulfill that order when it's coming through. So that statistic in itself, to me, leads us on to the certainty that consumers want to have when they're buying online and the certainty that needs to be within the supply chain process for e-fulfillment logistics.